Tevez da solo, Tevez al limite dell'area, fa fuori tutti, Tevez, si apre la porta, Tevez, gol, da dietro, Pirlo dentro,
All right, buongiorno bianconeri. Welcome back to the All Juve Cast channel. I got myself, we got Anthony, we got Omer. I think we're going to have one more join us as it is time for that Coppa Italia match against Monza where we can try and redeem a previous 1-0 defeat to Monza, which we will talk about for sure as we get ready for this one. We're going to tackle this morning's news around Juve and obviously big week for Juve, the Andrea Agnelli era coming to an end. But is it? Oh, yeah, some more news today. Man. So we're going to tackle all that. Real quick reminder to like the video. And, of course, if you're a diehard Juve fan and you found us, subscribe to the channel because we got you covered on everything Juventus. And maybe you don't support Juve and you found us and you're a rival fan or support another club and you just want to be kept in the loop. Smash the subscribe button because we got you covered on everything Juve. Now, guys, good morning. How you guys doing?
Good morning.
Good afternoon for Omer and whatnot. Everybody's good? Everybody's good?
What are we even talking about here? What are we talking about? I got the new Gubby gear. Boom. Got the new mug in because Lucas said my other mug was way too big, so I need a normal size mug. He obviously doesn't have kids because when you have kids, the mugs get bigger. I know a guy with 6 kids. He drinks out of like a 10-gallon water jug coffee. So he'll learn. But hey, other than that, living the dream, baby. Let's roll.
I'm all over the place with pop culture references. I've got my Guardians of the Galaxy mug and Call of Duty shirt and Juve behind me. Trying to tick all boxes.
But you make it work,
very
Omer.
Nice. All right, fellas. So we're going to kick things off with the news. We're going to say what's up to everybody in the live real quick here with Benjamin. Say Forza Juve, fino alla fine, buddy, fino alla fine. Vito coming in here. Good morning, AJC Army, Jeremiah, guys. Let's give Monza a beating. Hey, let's just get the job done. But if it's a beating, I'll take it. Bobby Yoga, South Jolly, AJC, Forza Juve. All right. So in news, we'll kick things off with the Mercato rumblings as it's pretty quiet as expected. January, not going to be a whole bunch going on, but there is all of a sudden a little bit more smoke over the past couple of days picking up around Fresneda. So that could be something. But again, what we've been hearing for a while is that we have to sell to bring somebody in. So nobody really knows 100%. And we've also been getting mixed reports when it comes to Fresneda. Yes, there's meetings. No, there isn't any meetings going on. So it's a tough one to take right now. We just have to wait it out. But yeah, they were saying that there was a meeting and that Juve could be the first ones up. And Voladid, that Fresneda is a part of, apparently is expecting Juve to be the first club to actually put something official together for the players. So we wait and see on that one. Yesterday, Vlahovic rumors out of nowhere. Not a strong sight, but, you know, we like to keep everybody in the loop. It is coming from Spanish media, so it should be said that apparently he's offered himself up to Real Madrid. And I don't take that. You just, hey, we lay it out for everyone to play it out. I don't think anything to that one, okay? Gatti rumors of a loan out. Gatti rumors of being loaned out. I'm not buying that one either. That was Gazzetta. I can't see it.
Yeah,
can you guys see it? No. Can't see that
doesn't make
one.
much sense there.
No. We're already short on center backs.
Yeah, exactly. And Rugani was also reported to be staying. That was the day before. So nobody's going to be going anywhere, I don't think, unless there's a sale for Weston McKennie. I think all things stay the same. But if we can swing a fullback, hey, let's do it. Let's do it if we can swing a fullback. The big news obviously coming is that Agnelli and Nedved said their goodbyes yesterday officially at the shareholders meeting. The new board of directors was voted in. I can't stress this enough to everybody who sent me DMs and messages and whatnot. No, there are not footballing minds, okay, or footballing personalities in the board of directors. That is not their role. This is just the board of directors. There will be a management team assembled with a sporting director later on in the year. Okay.
Correct.
Anthony, you can present to us the names of the new board of directors.
Right. So the first thing that we should note is that this Cho just showed up, so we might as well bring him in. Are you ready?
I mean,
okay.
Can we
go.
start?
Yes. Yeah, we started like 5 minutes ago, but that's okay.
Yeah,
So
my apologies.
the board of directors was shrunk from 10 to 5. So it used to be 10 members. Now there's only 5. So that does include Gianluca Ferraro, who is the chairman, Maurizio Scanavino, who is the president or the CEO, and then the 3 new board members who were voted on. Now, all UVCast, we put this out in December, the names that came up, but no, they were no different than the ones that came out in December. So the first one is Fiorana Negri. She is she's an auditor expert, all that sort. She's a chartered accountant, so that's her expertise. Diego Pistone, love that name, by the way. Diego Pistone. He's an economics and commerce expert. That's his background, like decades of this. Both of them had like decades of experience. And then the last one, Laura Capiello, she's an expert in law and supervisory bodies. So this team is specifically assembled to tackle all the legal issues. Now, will it be the same group a year from now? Possibly, but like the chairman and the CEO, I could see those names changing in a year, but the 3 board members, they'll stick around for a while. But again, to your point, Al, these are not footballing minds. They were never meant to be footballing minds.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing too is it's interesting that they shortened up the amount of board members, and before there was a lot, obviously 10, and you had people that weren't really involved whatsoever that just came by for meetings and whatnot. It's a little,
Money.
yeah, exactly. So they tightened it up. Again, those names, some of them could potentially change. And then of course today you get the news of Agnelli. You know, if everything goes well in terms of the investigations and whatnot, this is what's being reported, that he could look to buy out Elkan, and with a group, of course, and come back in. So again, going to be interesting. I think everything is far from over by any means, and definitely this is all part of this investigation thing.
Do we want him back in?
Well,
I don't know. It's an honest question. Some people say yes, some people say no. But like, do we want to keep going after this Super League thing?
Here's the thing, and it's interesting. Let's get into the Super League, I guess. It's funny he still found a way to tie that in, even with his goodbyes. Puts a little shot in there that, hey, European football needs major reform. Otherwise, the top talent is just going to go to the Premier League, and it's going to marginalize all the other leagues. He's not necessarily wrong, and we were talking about this back when the Super League was first an idea. Yes, the execution was piss poor on the release of the Super League. Yes, there were tweaks that needed to be made. However, what he did was start to shine a light on something that people were just letting slide for so long. And look at it in January, 320 whatever million already spent by the Premier League. The closest is La Liga at 19 million. What are we even talking about here? Now you have fans on both sides. There's obviously the fans of Premier League and whatever saying, whose fault is that? Why do we need to worry about that or whatnot? But the problem is, and other fans are saying, why is it UEFA's issue? Well, here's the thing, because it starts to affect the competition. If not everybody is on somewhat of some type of same parallel or standards, then what are we doing? Champions League is going to be a money ball between those Premier League 4 clubs or whatever. So something has to instead be done. There has to be some type of regulations. The leagues and whatnot, if they can't get it together, like Serie A, which we've been saying for a while, well, the clubs have to look elsewhere and look to try and do something. But I still think, okay, you could spend whatever you want, but like there has to be some type of regulations. You can make all this money and whatnot, but There has to be some type of regulation. Otherwise, we're getting out of hand. A player like Mudryk cannot go for 100 million euros because it screws everybody over.
I don't even know who that is.
But again, here's the tough part about it. You can't tell a team how much they can sell a player for,
Ukrainian.
and you can't tell another team. So it's very, very difficult because these are free dealings. So a team can sell a player for whatever they want, but it does hurt the market. And it's a reason is because of how loose the English are in purchasing players, overhyped guys for big money. And it's saturating the market and it's making an absolute mess. So there's a lot to this. It's not easy to find an answer, but what do you guys think about the whole regulations and what he's saying about Europe and football in general?
Don't think I should go first.
Okay. Well, Omer, go ahead.
Okay. I think that's the reason the Super League idea came on in the first place, because like keeping your team competitive when all of that is happening in the Premier League is just impossible for teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, Milan, and whoever. And so the idea behind the Super League, I support it. I think it will do, wonders to football. The way that they proposed it and stuff is a different story, but the idea behind it is solid. Look, it happened before. Like we had leagues and teams that were once considered the greatest and just fell behind because they couldn't compete with the money. You can look at Scotland, for example, and Czech Republic, and they had major clubs who were, always in like the Champions League and stuff and made it to the later stages, and you won't see that anymore. And my fear is that the same will happen to Italy and Spain and Germany and possibly France. So all of these clubs will start looking for outside investors to bring in more money, but the rules don't apply the same in each league. Like each league have their own rules, and Spain has salary cap and blah blah blah. So he's not wrong. What he's saying is completely right. The Champions League will become the FA Cup, just exactly the same. The same 4, 5, 6 teams will have the most money, who can have the biggest roster with players who cost 100 plus millions. So what I would suggest is maybe 2 rules to just, help that balance itself out. One of the rules is a limitation on the amount of players you can have in one team. You can have 22 players. Yes. That's it. And you can't loan players and wait for them to come back. And that will make the bigger teams sell. They just can't keep those players, whether they like it or not, or they will be fined and punished. That's my 2 cents on it. It's a huge discussion that we can go on for hours, but that's the way I see it.
Yeah, we don't have that kind of time. Are we going to get to Vito's comment, or is that basically what we're aiming at here?
I've got
or Luca?
No. I'll keep it short on my end. You guys have been around longer than I have in every
What's that
aspect.
supposed to mean?
What the hell, man?
Let me
what are you talking about?
You show up late, you call me old?
Let me finish
what is
the
this?
thought. Let me finish the thought. You guys have been around longer, so you know what football was like before it became about money. And I don't know if it was still about money in the 90s. I wasn't around for it. So it's not an insult to you guys. It's just stating that you guys have been watching this longer than I have. Yeah, so you know more. I'll just say it is. But from my end, I mean, just looking in the last 5 years, let's say the absolute, let's say, separation from those top 4 or 5 teams that Omer brought up is evident. And for a younger fan, it's like some of those Scottish teams, like I don't even know these guys. Like I've never seen them play. So it's unfortunate, and I hope obviously that there is a change, or something could happen, because always watching the same 4 teams end up in the semis or the quarters, whatever it is, or even the finals. So if it's always the same teams, it gets obviously just boring. Like there's nothing really to be entertained by anymore. So that's my input. We could move on to his comment now.
Or you can just do what I do, and as soon as Juventus is knocked out, you don't even watch the damn thing. It's fantastic. I couldn't even name you who was in the final last year.
I mean,
way to go!
It's still football. It's still the sport I love, so I'm gonna watch it.
It's It's just it's all changed, and we are going to get to Vito's comment for sure, because that's
Vito.
kind of what everybody started to get a feeling. And Yelly laid one comment down that snowballed into this thing on social media where fans just started to fight over we are becoming a feeder team and whatnot, and that the Super League may be the only way to avoid this. Look, we'll get into this basically, and how we feel about, is Juve becoming a feeder team? What is a feeder team? Like, how is this going to work? Look, there's a lot. This discussion is not clear cut. And even when we talk about the finances and, you know, these teams that are making all this money and whatnot, and you have like Champions League winners not making the same money as like a team finishing 15th in Premier League, for Christ's sake. It's all got to make sense. Regulations. Maybe you put a max on the most you can sell a player for, to start there or something. But even that is technically going against what these free dealings are with. But something has to kind of happen, because it's a little bit out of control. But I put more on the leagues themselves to step things up. Better production, better marketing.
Exactly.
The leagues have to, in Italy, they have to get behind the clubs and allow them to build modern stadiums and get with the times. So much of it. So I really do put it on the league. Premier League has done a great job at doing
that.
And it's funny because I don't think they're anywhere near the best league. Regardless of the talent that's there, I don't find it the best league when it comes down to watching the games and stuff. But whole separate discussion, okay? So feeder teams. Is Juve becoming a feeder team? Agnelli's words were, he can see in 5 to 8 years the first team being made up of 50 to 60% of the youth sector. That's through progression and whatnot with Juve Next Gen. And then, of course, it broke into this. We're becoming a feeder team. Guys, I'm going to let you guys go first, and then I'm going to jump into this, okay? So who wants to kick us off on this Juve, this feeder
I'm starting
team
this
and
one.
everything?
It's been waiting all
I'm
night
starting
for
this
this.
one. I don't even know what the hell that means, because so first of all, to your point out, great point about you have to fix your house first. So let's just look at, I sometimes use NFL examples, but you build your team in the NFL to win your division first, right? Because those are the teams you play the most. In soccer, you should be Juventus should be building their team to win Serie A first. They can't be worried about building a team to win Champions League. Like that's so far away now that, and I think they're on the right approach, that you develop the youth players to either start them or sell them. Now, I don't think that's being a feeder team. I think that's just good business, because if you're selling more than you're buying, then you're making money and you can invest in other things. Like the players that you are buying, you can buy better ones for, and not put yourself into the red. So feeder team, I don't think that really makes a lot of sense to me, but like we can't be worrying about what England's doing. England is so far ahead in terms of like promotion, like promoting their league and what they've done to their stadiums and security and atmosphere. And like they fixed that, 15 years ago? They really started to get into that and like cleaning it up. We still have racetracks around fields. Like, what are we doing here? What is this, 1973?
Yeah.
They still have the steeplechase pits in there. What are we doing? What are we doing? Like Inter and Milan want to build a stadium, and the city's like, no. Rome wants to build a new stadium? No. Body's got a 70,000 seat stadium, and like 12 people show up to games. Like, what are they doing over there? Let's fix our own house first before we start worrying about what other leagues are doing.
Yeah, and to be honest, if you go back, the scale was different. Okay. So I will just say this, like, as far as being a feeder team, I don't see Juve becoming a feeder team just because we're going to start to integrate more of the youth. That just means that I think I took it more as he sees what's happening with Juve Next Gen actually in the rate that it's progressed from when it started to where it is now. In 5 to 8 years time, we'll be able to actually pull that much. And he said amongst the first team, 50 to 60% amongst the first team, not starting 11, first team. That includes rotational players and everything. So
6, maybe.
Come on, what are we talking about here? Okay,
Maybe
so
7.
it's not going to mean that Juve's becoming a feeder team. For me, it's a look going back into our old business models. We used to always buy on the cheap, okay?
Yep.
Even back in the 90s. And the thing that gets me is the ones that automatically associate you have a younger roster, you're getting younger players, whatnot, automatically associate it with not winning, not competing, and yeah, now you're a feeder club.
That
No,
was me.
it's okay, but no,
It was.
you can't, because it's all relative. It's just more of a business model, and obviously with the numbers and what we're trying to chase, if there are no big changes back home, what do we have to do? We have to change ourselves. This is a look at a business model going back to what we were doing. And if you look back in the day, back in the 90s, teams that a lot of us fans want to shed light on because it was incredible what we watched, the list goes
awesome.
on and on. Igor Tudor, Birindelli, Tacchinardi, bought on the cheap, all went crazy. Del Piero didn't have to pan out. It could have not worked out. He was 18 years old and we signed him for what? $2 million. It didn't have to work out. It's one of those things. We always bought on the cheap back day. It's just that now compared to then, the cheap is a hell of a lot different, but it's still all relative. Even if you look during this decade of dominance going into where we are now, Juve needs to start hitting on the guys that they're bringing in.
Mhm.
So for me, if I look at this Juve as a whole over these past few years and where we've kind of fallen off, I don't think we're getting the right men. I think we were getting market opportunities and not necessarily looking at the profiles and who we were bringing in. If people ask me all the time, what is the main difference you see back then during the 90s to now? Back then, the guys had a closer grip on who they were bringing in and what they were going to do for us at Juve and if they were going to fit the mold. Right now, I think it's all about this, and it's too one-sided, and they're not getting the profiles we actually need. And that's why you can't create a style or identity, because you're not even looking at the guys you're bringing in as far as character. It's all about the market opportunities, because we have let the finances slide so much in one direction that now you can't even follow a mold, because it's like, what can we afford at this point? So it's all relative to the money talk, to Super League and all this, because it's very hard. But I think we've fallen off when it comes to the character guys and what we're bringing in, because we're so focused on the finances and just who's free, who's available, what we can make move. That's how I personally feel.
Yeah, I can see what he's saying. Maybe the term feeder club is a bit exaggerated, but it might become a reality. Just look at the landscape of European football and imagine a player like Nedved. If he was a youngster today, he wouldn't have stayed in Czech Republic after the age of 20. He became a better player because he played there until he was 24, and a lot of players did, and then he moved abroad. And now those players don't get the chance to experience, Champions League for a few years and stuff like that, and playing with the big boys before they get their big move into Europe, mainly into England. And that's how I think it might happen for us eventually, because you can see Italian talents moving away at an early age. Like, where is Scamacca playing? Because everyone in Italy wanted him, but suddenly, like
West Ham.
West Ham just
Knew that one.
had the money. It wasn't a problem for them, and they just bought him. So we have no Scamacca in our league. And William Yotto is playing in England instead of Italy.
Banger yesterday.
Yeah,
Scored
and
a banger.
So now
He
it's a
scored two.
problem of the smaller clubs, and it might gradually become a problem for Milan and Inter and Juve and Napoli and everyone. That's one thing. The other thing is that we as fans probably have a hand in this too, because back in the 90s, from what I remember, we had patience. We gave players time to shine and didn't, cut them off. We talked in the last podcast about selling Dusan Vlahovic. Is not even 1 year in, and we invested a whole of a lot of money in it. He was injured for a long while. We had a World Cup. It was the middle of the season, and we want him out because we think he's not good enough. So we're putting a lot of pressure on players because we can, have personal connection with them and send them private messages on social media. I
Never
can't
done
hold
that.
myself back. I can't hold myself back from commenting on players and stuff, but I get my part and why players won't stay here for too long, and
Money.
they have to prove themselves right away. If a player is good somewhere and he feels good and he feels at home and he feels loved, he won't rush to leave for 2 more million in his paycheck.
Well, time will tell. But again, feeder club, I can't see Juve being a feeder club. They will move the ones expendable. That's the whole thing. These other clubs that people are calling feeder clubs, they're moving the players. They don't have to. They literally are still in control of that situation,
Like
right?
Sassuolo's a
Players
feeder
built
club.
all this, well, is what it is. But I'm telling you, they're moving guys like 6 months in, the second the money hits. Why? Not because they're feeder clubs, because they're worried
Santos.
that player might not work out and they're not going to get that money back. And why wouldn't they? So that's what the difference is, okay? A feeder club, they're moving guys because they have that market chance right there, then and now. But if a team is happy with that player, doesn't want to take that, I'm
Bam.
telling you.
There's one. Ajax is a
Yes.
feeder
Yeah,
club.
yeah.
So if someone offers 80 million for Fajoli,
Yeah, like you
in
can't.
2
You
years
guys,
from now.
you guys were considering 100 million for Vlahovic like a week ago. You can't say that. Like, if the opportunity's there, you take it. Especially nowadays, we know our financial standings. I think it's not a feeder club. It's just called sustainability. It's called, like Anthony said, good business. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
But here's the
understand.
thing you're missing is that you can make money on all these other youngsters. Juve was already doing that before Juve Next Gen was even created. For
But
Christ's sake, 4 years ago, we made like almost 70, 80 million off like 6 guys nobody gave a shit about.
the difference
Nothing
is
really
out.
changed there. If anything, now we have a plethora of those guys to move. Of course, it'll be investigated, but that's neither here nor there. I don't see that changing. But of course, it's all relative. 80 million for Fajoli, not gonna
What are we even
happen. Not
talking
gonna
about?
come in. But
I'll drive him to the
obviously,
airport for
take
80
that
million.
and sign it. But would you, based on where the team is? I don't necessarily know. Right now, based on his play, it's outrageous. You jump on it, but in a few years' time, if he's the heart and soul and right in the heart of it, hey, and if he does that, would that not be a credit to what we were doing? And probably there's going to be more guys to follow. Like Rovella, Fagioli, Miretti could be something incredible in a few years' time.
Or
If we
absolutely
have
nothing.
the patience
will
and
be.
keep them around.
It will be, not could. It will.
So who knows, right? Look, this is a discussion that could go on forever, but
It's game day.
it's
Yeah,
more
it's game day.
when clubs start coming in for stars like Chiesa, etc. And again, you can't stop these teams with all this money to come in and splash it around. At that point in time, all you can hope is that these guys want to stick around. This is why I've always said, I'm going to tie this last part before we get into the game and everything back to when all this kind of came down. And I said, this is why I see it important. You have a lot of fans that say Juve needs to look abroad, find these unknowns, these youngs that are abroad. But if they hit it big with these guys, I can't help but feel they are more inclined to leave Juventus should that offer come in. Whereas a young Italian star like Chiesa, okay, would be more inclined to stay with Juventus because he understands what it is to be at that club. The foreign guys will not have that association. I won't say all of them, but very few of them will have that association with Juventus. So it is important for Juve to find top talent in its backyard. Okay. Now, not all of us, many of us believe, Anthony was kind of there, that Italy just doesn't have that talent. Roberto Mancini came out yesterday, literally, and said, Italy does have the talent. They just don't get the minutes up front like you see in these other countries. I've been saying this for a while. He is not wrong. He's not wrong. Italy does
All right.
have young talent. They don't get the time as quickly as they need it. We don't have to look any further than our own doings and some of our own players and talents and what they've had to go through to finally now all of a sudden, okay, go in here, let's see what these guys can do. And the majority of them haven't disappointed.
Yeah. So my point, and I was wrong on this one, was I didn't think the young talent that we had was ready for the Serie A earlier in the season, and they're definitely proving me wrong, which is fantastic. And that's full credit to Cherubini and the team developing the Primavera squad and the U19s and all that. So we need more of that. And I think Napoli is going to start doing that as well. But like, we need more of the bigger clubs developing these systems. So these young Italian players can come up and go up through their clubs or be sold to other teams or be loaned out to feeder clubs in Italy, such as who's a feeder? I think Sassuolo is a feeder club, but you know what I mean? Sassuolo, Udinese, these mid-table clubs, Empoli, whoever they are, Spezia, they're sort of just hanging around the middle, and then they have time to play. So more of that, please. And I think it's going to pan out in the long run. It already is. Like, look, we're starting 4 youngsters today, potentially.
Yeah.
Today.
So
Forza Juve coming in early U18 and U19 just lost to Spain. Spain has had 19-year-olds going in their first team
Spain,
for like
Spain is the top
for
tier
so
of
much.
youth
They are
product right now.
literally the ones to follow almost when it comes to young guys and integration and whatnot. So I don't take that as a against or whatnot. And maybe you're just saying it for sake of saying, but whatever. It's all good. It's all good. Look, it's interesting. This is a lot going on with Juve. This is a big, big change. I see it more as business model changing. These flash, expensive player signings and whatnot, I don't see it. I think we're going to go in a much more going back to working that scale and finding these guys and whatnot. But I think Italy, like Juventus, has to get back to what they were doing. They were taking the top talents in Italy, and they were mixing in some foreigners and whatnot. And I think that's, the big thing is making the most out of what you got. And they got to do that. How do you do that? Everybody's got another solution. Character players. Hey, we always say this roster, whatever we think of Max Allegri, this roster's got major issues and holes and gaps and whatnot. So it's all got to come together. Will it? Time's going to tell. 5 to 8 years, 50 to 60% of U sector. I don't think it's going to be that high, but I think Juve next gen, obviously they're doing good. Now all these other teams in Italy want to follow suit and do the same thing. And hey, they're doing something good. If there's anything that Agnelli, Nedved, and everything, look, whatever, wherever it's been to now, I've said it's okay to be frustrated. I get it. But overall, that was a very strong era. And again, the trophies, the only cherry on top that they came close to was that Champions League, okay? Made 2 finals. It didn't work out for us, but the rest was unbelievable. I'll probably never see it again in the rest of my years. 9 straight Scudetti, adding some Coppa Italias, Super Coppas, 2 Champions League finals. Hey, that was something.
Didn't even know Super Coppa was played yesterday.
To boot, Juve next gen, now thriving, other teams looking to follow suit, and the women's team. Juve has a women's team that's right up there amongst the top in Europe. So they did a hell of a lot of good stuff. So overall, strong era. Now,
Serie A stinks.
It's game day, right? Shouldn't we not be talking
Juve
about
and Monza.
Yeah.
Okay. Our foes that took us down 1-0 earlier this season. Di Maria seeing red. We've got to get this one, guys. Come on. We're coming off that beat down to Napoli. Napoli ended by Cremonese, 10-man Cremonese going to kicks. The Coppa Italia, who knows what's going to happen today. We've got update here, 2-1 Atalanta. Anthony
like
Atalanta.
A clown show.
Yeah.
Clown show.
It's just
Monza coming off a 3-2 win against that Cremonese side that got Napoli taken out there, and changes to Juve since that first matchup. Big changes. Obviously, we don't play in a 4-3-3 anymore. From the Napoli game to this one, we're going to have a big rotation. We will get into lineups and whatnot. Monza, as far as injuries go, they're relatively healthy, but Nicola Rovella will not be in their lineup for them. And he bossed the midfield against us in the first one, so he's not going to be in there. Mota might not also be in there, so it might actually be Petagna up top for them. For Juve, we know what the deal is. Quadrado's still not healthy there. Pogba and Vlahovic, very close. Fingers crossed for the weekend, but probably not going to start. But maybe they come in and get some minutes. But they're getting closer. Bonucci, De Sciglio, who knows what the heck is going on?
What's going on with
they get
Bonucci?
hurt on the bench, but anyways, whatever.
So
They're
mean.
getting closer to. We're getting
Don't be
closer.
mean.
Pretty damn healthy. Today, Perin, Gatti, Rugani, Danilo. We've seen mixes, so I'm going to give the first set, which is Sule, Medetti, Paredes, Pajoli, Illing Jr. Across the middle. But it should be noted, McKennie's also been listed as that position on right wing back rather than Sule. Then you have Chiesa and Keane up top. However, if McKennie plays as right wing back, we've also seen Sule listed in Chiesa's spot, starting just behind Moise Keane. So, everybody, let's get to this matchup. A lot of changes from when we first met Monza and suffered that defeat 1-0. That was the one that kind of opened things up on Max Allegri, and we were like, okay, if you're going to pull the trigger, this is surely it, giving Monza that victory and whatnot. Guys, how do you feel about this lineup? How do you feel about this game going into it? What do we think?
Let the smart guy start first. Luca?
Was that a compliment? Holy shit.
I was just joking.
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead.
Luca, you don't wait and hesitate. You just get into it when he says that.
Go,
Shit,
come on.
I was so surprised. Like, what?
Already wasting time. Omer?
Yeah, I'm nervous, to be honest. Like, because of the first match, because it's Coppa Italia, it's a one-off game. Like, Milan are out against Torino and Napoli are out against Cremonese. This type of stuff can happen. I don't remember who played Inter, but they also dragged them to 120 minutes. Look, I'm not overly confident. I can't be, because for a club like Monza, this might be a good chance for them. Like, the league is, just stay where you are and you'll be fine. You won't win, just don't get relegated. But the cup is, they come with a different mentality than to a league game. And we are meeting them again in 2 games. So I don't know. Anything can happen in a one-off game. Like, exactly like happened in the league. 1 red card and we're out of it. And the birds again. Man.
They disagree
No, it's all right.
with
You're
your
good.
take. It's okay.
No, it's not a take. It's a
They're
feeling.
not nervous about the game today, Omar. You are. They're just letting it be known they're not nervous.
Fucking birds.
Are we going to recreate the best moment ever on AGC again?
But you want me to yell?
No.
No. We're good. So, Luca,
No,
how do you
no,
feel
no,
about it today? Are you nervous?
Yeah, no, I'm with Omar on this. I'm actually nervous because, like you said, this is for Monza. This is everything. You're playing Juventus, so you have the chance to embarrass us again, and the cup is their chance to actually, win something. The league, forget it. For them, it ain't happening. They don't have anything else, and we know how we play when there's absolutely nothing at stake. In our case, like even with our best players, we look vulnerable at times, and we couldn't beat Monza with, let's say, a decent first team. So, look, I think it's a good opportunity, but I'm still nervous that the guys just don't show up. Like these lineups, as exciting as it is to see this much youth involved, I fear that there's just there's going to be absolutely no cohesion. Like I don't know if these guys will get it together. I hope they do. I mean, I'm glad to see minutes for some guys who actually deserve it and can showcase it. That's probably the only benefit I can see. But I mean, I've seen this team in its absolute worst, and after the last game, I fear that it'll come back to that. So yeah, I'm a bit nervous.
Yeah, let's not forget we are playing Atalanta in 3 days, and usually you use your second team, and this is our second team.
Right.
Like all these youngsters, so not a lot of room to maneuver. But still, the Juve daycare is at large.
You've had daycare.
Yeah, you shouldn't be nervous for a soccer game. Be nervous when you have to go for a colonoscopy.
No,
That's what you should be
no.
nervous for. For a soccer game, no.
Do
But
I
when-
look like I'm
How many have
80?
you had?
So, listen, I don't have to divulge any medical information on this show, all right? So, anyways, the sort of Luca's point here, when you're throwing out the young guys, you're going up against a team. Hang on, okay, you guys done? You guys
Take
get
the
that in your
gloves
system?
on. Wait, hold on. Let me put my gloves on.
When you're going up against a team that, okay, middle of the pack, we should beat, but Al, from their lineup, they're essentially unchanged from the weekend. They're playing their regular team, and you're throwing out a U23 midfield.
With
You got
Paredes.
the potential of our midfield getting absolutely steamrolled by men.
Yeah,
out there.
100%.
So again, Juventus should win, but if our midfield's been an issue in the past, and this could be a big problem. I think what Max is trying to do is just hold till the 60th, 70th minute, and if needed, he can bring in, other players. But I don't know, man. This could go either way.
No, I have a question. I have a question for you. Should we put all we can into the Coppa Italia because it's a viable trophy for Juve,
No.
or should we
Yes.
focus more on the league and play the youngsters today and focus on Atalanta, who are direct rivals for top four? Where would you put your priority?
Me, I think
Everyone.
I have no issues with the lineup today. I think it's great. I'm just saying expectations should be dropped a little bit.
Here's the thing. I don't think, again, playing this lineup or whatever, that's not us not going for it. I think we're going to go for this trophy, to be honest, especially with what's going on with some of these other matchups and whatnot. I think we go for it. I expected semifinal regardless. And there's no reason we can't make the final of this thing and maybe take it home because a final 50-50. Look, today, this lineup, I like the fact that there's a lot of changes, especially when you're coming off a game that went so bad against
Awful.
Napoli. Get a lot of the faces that weren't involved in it. And a lot of these faces, again, we talked about them being probably more reliable than people would have banked on. Even Gatti, for some of the, flack he's taken and whatnot, I have no problems. Get him in there. Rugani's been reliable all last year. And going into this, it's Monza. Yeah, go for it. The midfield, Paredes is in the heart of it, but man, you got Fagioli next to him and you got Moretti on the other side. Let's see what happens. Those guys will help support properly and have something in the attack. McKinney at right wing back, he's less lost when he plays on the flank than in the midfield, because every time I see him in the midfield positionally, I don't know what it is, instruction or not, whatever the case is, coach at fault, player at fault, he's lost when he plays in the
Lucci
center of the
player.
park. Okay, bottom line, he's
scoring
lost.
today.
Play him out on the wing back, shut somebody down, whatever. Sule goes up
Write it
top
down.
with Keane, no problem with it. Sule playing the wing back. Sure, some defensive liability there, but it gets Chiesa up top with Keane. Fire away. I like it. Don't associate a lot of the faces that were back in that beat up to Napoli. Maybe these guys can light a spark, carry it forward, and maybe they get rewarded with minutes moving forward, because this is one of the things. Does
yellow
McKinney
notepad.
continue to see the lineup when he struggles? We went away from Fagioli. Who was a big part of that streak. I don't know, but I don't have any problem with this, and I think Juve gets the job done today, and I think we do so comfortably.
I hope so. I want to score 16
Why are you
goals
so
in
mad
the
and angry
2
and
games
nervous?
we have.
Because I'm getting fired up, man.
Colonoscopy? Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah,
like
getting
5
fired
o'clock
up.
at his time too, so I don't know
I don't
how
get-
he keeps this up.
I
for
didn't
the
get
day.
nervous until Napoli. Maybe it's the time. I mean, it's pretty hard to get nervous at 6:30 in the morning or whatever.
Your
But
heart rate's going up, that's for sure.
maybe when the game happens and I start seeing, and maybe we don't get any ball control, and if our midfield gets
Starts
bossed, then I'll get a
sweating a
little
bit.
nervous. But I think it'll be a completely different team. Again, the last time we played Monza, we were in a 4-3-3. What did we see from the 4-3-3 in the start of the season? Barely creating any
Not much.
chances. Awful balance. Poor fullback play. The 3-5-2 has helped a lot. Does it create some problems individually for some players? Yes. But as a whole, a lot of our issues got solved. So now it's just a matter of what do we want to do? I think there's a couple tweaks that could help this, but what it involves, and I've always said this even during the World Cup break, when we come back, I said, you're not going to be able to get all of your best players out at the same time if you're Juventus, because I think a 4-3-3 is going to open us up to poor fullbacks. Okay, unless all of a sudden something crazy happens and we bring in some great fullbacks in January, the 4-3-3, I don't see it. I think it's in this 3-5-2 that you have to find some type of balance. It's going to have to shift into a 3-4-3 when we're on the ball in order to get Chiesa up a flank, higher up, playing against these guys 1v1, and Kostic is going to have to kind of make up that other winger. So it turns into some type of a 3-4-3. But I think it's going to be the best we got, to be honest. Regardless, this game, how's everybody feeling? We're going to get to prediction time now, and then we'll do some fun with Storm the Barn, and you guys can get all your questions in and everything like that, all right? So who wants to kick us off on predictions? Luca?
Luca, go. Start now. Say it.
Go. Jesus Christ.
Do it. Do it now.
2-1 Juventus.
All right. Not so
Goal
nervous
scorers,
after
I've got
all.
McKennie, and I've got Keane.
Kenny and Keane. Okay,
Those are
goal
big
scorers.
gambles there.
What's your other tiebreaker, last tiebreaker?
Can I do like amounts of yellow cards or like first
You
yellow
can do
card?
whatever the hell you like.
Whatever you want, man.
Okay. First yellow card, 42nd minute.
To who? Like team.
Monza.
All right. Omer.
Okay, I think it's 1-1. Goes to penalties or extra game. It's penalties. I don't know. I don't feel confident, but 1-1 and another tiebreaker.
Corto Muso.
Okay. Oh, it's the
1-1
goal
goes to
today.
kicks or
Yeah,
kicks?
You said free.
yeah. It's
Okay.
Landucci ball today. So
Oh,
Oh,
happy
right.
day.
right. So that means one extra goal on top of the usual.
That means what they worked on all week long goes out the window, and Landucci does whatever he
Scrap
wants.
it out.
That's how football works.
Pinzolio's starting the game. Let's scrap
And-
everything.
Yeah. Gatti to score.
That's a good call. That's a very good call.
5-1 beat down for us tonight from Dean. All right. Jeremiah, 3-1 Juve, Fagioli, Milik, Barbieri.
Did he get
All
called up?
right. 13-6. Okay. 3-1 Juve. Ant, what are you thinking?
I just pray to God we don't go to extra time. Just whatever the result is,
For Al's
just
heart
don't be
rate,
extra time.
Just to keep
We don't need
Al
that
like
shit.
safe, because I think he might stress out if we go to extra time.
Anyhow, I'm gonna go 2-0 Juve. I don't think
Really?
Monza gets more than 3 shots on target.
Oh,
Fucking hopeful today.
Delusional. Did you take your pills?
I was gonna
I
say, did
think-
you take your meds this morning?
I think Juve is gonna get 8 corner kicks. And I will go with Chiesa with at least 1 goal scorer. And I'm going back to the well with an own goal on Monza.
He's gonna beat it like a dead horse until
Yeah.
it
we just
comes
need a
up.
final score, 2 tiebreakers. Anthony breaks down the entire stat sheet for us before it goes on. I love it.
Let's see what that pays today. All those put together. Plus 45,000.
Ant did take my score line. It's 2-0. It's going to be a 2-0 victory for Juventus. Okay.
Great minds, buddy.
It's going to be a 2-0 score line.
Lazy minds, more like it.
I don't know if I'm going to go with Monza only getting 3 on target.
It's a bit low.
But I think they will probably have slightly more possession. Okay, so I'll say
Son of a bitch.
Monza gets maybe like 53% possession on us, but we win 2-0. I'm gonna put Chiesa down for 1,
He needs
and I'm
a
gonna
goal.
put. I'm actually gonna say that Moretti finally gets 1. Finally
This
gets
would be a
1
good time for it.
in this one. So Chiesa, Moretti for me as your goal scorers. And then it's going to be a drab second half as we just get the job done and see it out. But 2-0 Juve. And another tiebreaker, we get yellow corners, offsides.
Go interesting.
Offsides,
Red
less
card, do a red
than
card.
3 for Juve. What, Omer?
Go with something interesting.
Spicy.
Something you don't usually do.
Like
gotta
Landry
write
gets
down
kicked
my
off the
picks.
bench.
Something
Yeah.
I don't usually do. I've done a lot on predictions.
the
I don't know.
prediction right?
Something I don't usually do.
Leave the possession and shots on target alone. Try something like.
How about you worry about your own picks over there, Omer? Let us make our
Yeah.
own goddamn picks.
Hey,
Oh, I'm worried
Make
about
it
my
easy.
picks. You know I'm worried about my picks.
all right. Don't worry about it. I'm leaving those the same. Nothing to get wild about in a Coppa Italia match against Monza. Hopefully. All right. Storm the barn. Everybody, you got questions? Get them in. We have a little bit of time before we see things out. We got the feeling here. Luca, Omer, a little nervous. Anthony only gets nervous for medical procedures.
I didn't
And
say that.
I'm
I did
not
not
nervous
say that.
at all.
I
I'm
said
pretty
you
fired
should.
up, and everybody likes it. So.
You should.
So let's go. Do
What do we
you
got?
guys,
What do we
first
got
off,
cooking?
before we make it wide open to the chat, do you guys have any questions? Is there anything going on in Juve that a topic maybe we haven't tackled you want to get into?
Yeah, why is Mechanic keeps playing? Like,
Keeps
not because. No, I didn't mean it that way. Like,
I don't know how to answer that.
he's been rumored to leave by
That's
all
a good
the
point,
credible guys, and since he's been rumored to leave,
He's played every game.
every match.
90 minutes too, not just like 60. 90
Not
minutes.
90 minutes in any
Well,
one
he's
of them,
been
but he played
putting
all
in
games.
shifts. Like
I think it's
When does
something
the
that
window
Max
close?
does.
it's a
End
good,
of the
it's a good
month.
question, Omar. I thought about it last game because I
31st?
Yeah,
the end of
31st.
January. I don't think he's leaving.
Still lots of time, man.
I
Still
don't
lots
think
of
he's
time.
leaving.
Gotta see what he's got.
We literally
Yeah,
just
but why does
actually
he keep playing?
voted the board in, and they said everything was going to be frozen until the 18th minimum.
Yeah.
Which was
Which is
yesterday, right? Or
Yeah,
today?
today's the 19th. So, yeah, I mean, it could still go down.
I don't see it happening.
Man, we closed
my question is-
Vlahovic in the last year. So
Yeah, but
Yeah,
there was.
but he wanted to leave.
Yeah, he wanted to leave. McKennie doesn't seem like, and you can't blame him. It's Aston
Kenny's
Villa.
weighing out his future, though. We've heard that rumor a lot. Like he's like trying to
Yet
figure
he
this out
keeps
because he's got to
playing.
figure out it. He's waiting for a team that's better than the ones that are interested in him. It's almost
can't
like a
blame him
flash
for
of
that.
reality. Like these are the teams interested in you, man. I don't know who he's waiting for to come knocking,
blame
but
him?
Well, yeah, no, you can't blame him. Like that's my point.
Like-
we had the same issue with Rabiot. Like
no,
the guy
it's
didn't
not
want
that
to
I
leave.
blame, but that's what he's doing. He's
Yeah.
literally
fine.
waiting. He knows what's going on, but does he? Because he keeps getting minutes, which is absolutely
He's-
shocking based on what he's given us this year. It's brutal. Luca, you could continue to fight this battle on McKennie.
I'm not fighting it out.
He's
It's more
been
like
piss
look,
poor.
yeah, and I agree. But look at the facts. He's getting playtime. He's getting paid a decent salary. He's in a top 4 club in Italy. Why would he want to go to Aston Villa where he might not get the playtime?
No, I
He
get
might not-
that. But
it's
what
like-
I'm saying is I'm laughing at the part that he's getting so many minutes when he's literally bottom of the fucking pecking order when it comes to our midfielders, especially.
clearly not,
right wing
because
back,
he
that's
starts-
a temporary home. And then he's going to see bench. And then the reality for him is he should be seeing bench. And this is why we especially can't move anybody when you give them minutes, for Christ's sake. The only
That was my
hope
question.
you have if you're looking to move this guy is him not getting minutes. That's the only hope you have. So Juve shoots themselves in the foot. Everybody says, well, you got to showcase him or whatnot. Look, he ain't showcasing anything. You bench him so that he says, okay, I want to go somewhere and play. We shoot ourselves in the foot, for Christ's sake. But anyway.
That was my
So,
question.
This brings up my
That
next
was a great
Omar,
question.
and I think this is where I wanted to bring this up earlier. And I'm not sure if Barbieri's in the squad that's called up today. Why does Max not attempt that now? Like, I know the kid hasn't been fully tested, but now probably is the best time, especially when we have a major hole at right back. Like
No,
the
he'll
fact that
probably
he
get
pushes
minutes.
McKennie there.
He'll probably get some minutes today. I'm guessing there's like 8 Primavera players on the pitch by the time the final whistle goes out.
When
But
it's 1-1?
why doesn't he? I don't know. It's a one-off game. Like, would you take the chance? Are you confident enough in
Now's
your
the time.
team?
I mean,
Yeah, if everyone else was playing, but when you have so many youngsters and things are hanging in the balance, would you bet on someone who hasn't played an official game with Juve yet?
I mean, I think what we learned with Miretti, Fagioli is that when the hand was forced, it ended up working. Not like Max had a choice with them. But right now, he's just forcing McKennie, which clearly isn't the best option. And Quadrado is, even if he comes back, we know how he was like before. It's not any
Actually, feels
better.
the same.
Okay, I think
It feels
someone's got
kind
to
of
sort of
the
defend McKennie here a little bit, just a little
I've
bit.
been defending him, but not to
Oh,
that.
At the
I don't-
right wing back position, compared to McKennie, Soulé, if you put him out there, is a defensive liability. In Max's eyes, that's a problem. If he wants to implement a system, whether right or wrong, Max's system, he needs someone who can play defense at that position.
Which is Weston.
And McKennie is better at going forward, not so much.
Not so.
But the whole comment here about you play him to showcase his value, or if you bench him, his value goes down. I don't think his value is really going up by playing him.
Here's the thing. Nobody would
Tough
pick up
scores.
a player expecting the team to lose money on the sale. Nobody's going to do that. He's going to be around the same value whether he's playing or not. Juve's not going to all of a sudden see 50 million roll in for Weston McKennie. He's going to be a very, very light capital gain on a sale. That's the truth of the matter, whether he's playing or not. The problem is, are we going to all of a sudden keep playing a guy to try and showcase him when he's not doing the job to the capability or the level we need? At what point? When he's in the center midfield, he sacrifices so much for this team, it's not even funny. So if it comes down to me, if you ask me, and I'm going to ask all you the same, you showcase him even though it hurts you? I don't do that. I'm sorry. I sell him when the time comes and take what it is. It is not, no team is going to purchase a player expecting the selling team, to take a loss on it. So the figures are going to be around the same. And honestly, look at what those clubs that are paying for other junk, they can easily afford a little bit of a capital boost for Juventus.
But why do we need to sell McKennie?
Oh, don't get me started. Come on, man.
You have to open a can of worms, buddy.
Easily the most expendable at the moment, and he would bring a capital gain.
The highest, for what we'd get.
Like,
for
do
him,
we
he's
need the
best.
capital gain right now, or are we selling him because we have a target?
Because we need a
Like, if we have
fullback
Yes,
and we have no
for
money.
capital gain. You have Sandro leaving,
Andrado.
Quadrado leaving, Bonucci's going to end up going in a year for nothing. You have too many guys on this roster that aren't bringing anything back.
But couldn't we sell him in June?
One-sided. You have to sell.
We could sell him,
Why do we
but
gotta
we
sell
need
him
the
now?
fullback now, and we need those capital gains now.
See, my
Maybe
thing
they're
is,
planning on buying someone. That's the
my
that's
thing
why.
is, I only see them selling them if they have a guaranteed left back
Well,
purchase.
they're working on
back.
a full. Oh, it's right
or
back.
right back.
They're
You know what I
working
mean?
on it,
Like,
but they can't do it.
Fresneda.
Yeah, and
if
he's,
they don't
and he's-
have that replacement back set, I don't see us selling them. I just don't.
they're
I don't
working
see
on it.
happening.
And I mean, I think our news account put it out yesterday that Fresneda was 30 million release clause, and if he plays a certain amount of games, it goes up to 45. So we need that money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This showcase thing is something else, though, because you have to showcase McKennie if you tend on. I don't know.
I
I
don't
think
buy
the
it. I'm
suitors are
sorry.
there regardless, and we've heard it for long enough. Where there's that much smoke, there's usually fire. There's interest in Weston
forgot
McKennie.
about this.
He doesn't like the teams
forgot
that are
about
coming
that.
for him. He doesn't like the teams that are coming for him. Reality is, that's who's going to become. Let's get to some Storm the Barn.
Yeah, please.
No.
You storming our back.
Thoughts? In my opinion, Max Allegri is not the right fit to take Juve forward. He should be sacked in the summer. We spend big in signing a top coach, De Zerbi or Zidane. Look, De Zerbi's gone.
But
Is
does
that-
that with
that
Zidane in the
ship
same
sailed.
sentence?
Brighton.
Oh, God.
That's not going to happen
even
in
on
the
the
summer.
horizon anymore.
Zidane, I still have doubts about Zidane too. This coach thing, I'm
Overrated.
kind of at the point now where everybody knows where I stand on Max Allegri. Okay, no, I don't like his style, but I
None of us
still
do.
remain the same. We look at this season as a whole at the end of it. That's all I'm going to say on this one, and I'm going to move on. But you guys, Max Allegri, sacked
Oh,
in
he's
the
totally
summer.
getting fired at the end of the year.
Are you making that decision right now? Sacked in the summer. Luca
Yeah.
says yes.
Oh, yeah.
Omer says
Yeah.
yes. Ant.
I didn't think so, but based on history of when you bring in new management,
New board.
yeah, he's getting canned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see him staying. I can't
see him using 50% of the youth in his first team.
But there's for me, it's just no sense in talking about it now because it's not going to happen until season's end. Like the point has passed. Okay.
Maybe we can
Monza,
threaten
funny
him
enough,
like
we played Monza today, and that was
we all
probably
agree,
the
Jeremiah.
time
That way.
you
No,
were going to pull the trigger.
maybe we can do the Salernitana move just to scare him, fire him and then hire him back 2 days later.
Solid move.
And we have
Solid
another one
move.
now with our new president. Do you think Allegri will get?
Yes.
It's going to come down to the sporting director and the new management team. And this is again, I said this so much on the last show. Don't make any changes until you have a new management team and a new sporting director. Otherwise, what's the point? You're just going to hire more people coming in, and that might not necessarily be their guy. See Allegri out till the end of the season. I don't see him being with Juventus next year. Would I be willing to put a bet on that? Absolutely. Absolutely. If Max Allegri is Juve's coach next season, I will give away 10 Juventus jerseys at the start of next season because that's how confident I am. He will not be here.
That's at the hour mark.
10 Juventus kits to subscribers.
Hour 35.
If Max Allegri is our coach next year because he won't be here.
An hour 35.
Can all of them be the yellow-blue one we had last season? The third kit?
Man. How are you going to get that?
10? He can order them, I guess.
It's last season, and by the time it gets that season, there's 10.
Okay, so I'm that confident that Max Allegri will not be the coach next season. Now that the board has been assembled, what will the team do in the Mercato? Strictly sales, or will I honestly not much in January? We talked about this earlier on in the show too. If they can move somebody, maybe, but there is all of a sudden a lot of interesting reports coming out of Fresneda, and that we had a meeting with him. We're going to be the first team to put an offer in, but it still doesn't necessarily mean that it's January. They could be putting in an offer, trying to wrap something up that's going to happen in the summer too, right? So I don't see anything happening unless we sell. So
like who's making? Like you have to think about who's making the decision. You have a president who's been there for like 15 minutes. Well, he's been there since December, but there's no SD, these guys officially just came into office yesterday. So
his name is not even on the wall yet. And you're going to
be, but he doesn't have his name on his door yet. Yeah. Like, what are we talking about here?
Still sitting on like a bucket.
I'd be surprised if they made more than one signing. Shocked, actually.
And I still think
for the first team.
Yeah, I still think this move, like Fresneda's a great player, but I think 30 million in January in our situation, you should be looking at like the mid-bottom teams in Italy, seeing if there's any fullbacks that are that are getting some decent time and not enough, and a couple million on a transfer. 30 is a lot in January. We've seen that not work to our advantage. So I'm not saying it's bad business, but I think in our situation we should be looking at like the guys who are possibly have some talent. Like the option is there, not some guy who's really good and we know and we're going to pay us like a good fee for him. Like we don't need that. We need someone just as support in the meantime.
I don't think we need to keep looking for talent all the time. We need to examine the mentality of certain guys. That's what we're missing. We've brought in a lot of talented guys and they prove to have a bad mentality.
Yeah,
and when I think back to players that your Torricellis and Tacchinardis, they weren't the talented guys in the smaller teams in Italy, but they had what you need to play at Juve. I would look more for a mentality guy than just a talented guy.
I want to remind everybody, please like the video while you're here, and of course, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. All right, now. Del Piero may become part of management team, and we know where he stands with Allegri. I'm going to say this, as a lot of people were fired up about Del Piero saying that Max Allegri shouldn't be sacked, and he is not the only problem at issue with Juventus. And this kind of went AWOL, and the pro Max side used this as the ultimate backing and whatnot. Listen, everybody takes any phrase, any sentence, any headline in whatever suits their narrative.
Oh yeah, we do it all the time.
And I'm going to show you this one.
Tony does
Max Allegri should not be sacked. He is not the only problem at issue at Juventus. So in the pro Max side of things, hey, Del Piero standing behind Max Allegri. If he comes in, he's on
100%.
to next season. Listen to the flip side.
No.
Max Allegri should not be sacked right now. For those of you who are open to a much broader perspective and realize that Del Piero, anytime he speaks, is always incredibly diplomatic, okay?
Calculated.
Should not be sacked does not mean forever
Very
and throughout his contract term. It means right now. It could mean right now he should not be sacked.
And he's
you
right.
don't have a management team. You don't have a sporting director. Okay? He is not the only problem at Juventus. Not talking about roster or whatever, just leaving it broad to he is not the only issue at Juventus. Do not take all of that. Okay, don't take any of that for just this be all end all. Del Piero is already speaking like a management type. Okay, so
Del Piero is smart, and he probably knows that he might have to work with Allegri in the future. So has to be careful with what he says if he does eventually join the management,
Exactly.
something
Not
that
just a
he
hat
might
rack.
know or not. Now, he's smart. He's saying what he needs to say in order
Absolutely.
to make that
It'd be
transition
perfect
easier.
for us.
I don't know why he would
Absolutely.
leave Southern California, though. I don't know.
I mean,
You know, he's got a good
John,
do they
gig.
want to get into that can of worms?
Like, does he need more
couple
money?
more
You know?
Storm the Barnes guys.
Okay.
Do you believe in the Super League? Any chances? I actually don't think it's going to materialize because I think the leagues are not going to let it fly.
Hang on. Do you believe in it? Yes.
I believe in it. Yes, will it happen? I don't
You-
think so.
Believe in
No.
love after love too. Like,
No chance.
I don't
Not
think
If
so.
it does
Yes,
happen,
sir.
it'll be without the English teams.
And then at that point, the draw is less, and I think it'll be interesting. But I don't see it happening. I'm not putting any kits on it though. Is Pogba a real person at this point? Yes.
Yeah, no, we've
complete
seen him
figment of your
physically.
imagination.
Keep it
Yeah.
back. Keep
I don't
it
know what drugs you're taking.
He's a
though.
skier, actually.
back.
For which country?
Maybe Barbieri isn't as good as we think he is. Most youngsters get some sort of game time, even
Oh.
Barnecchia, and he ain't that good. So
Yeah, but he's
We
fullbacks
don't
are
need
tougher.
that guy. Like,
I'll
we need
say
a
with the
fullback,
fullbacks,
not-
it's tougher to bring them in as like Barbieri is what 19, something like that. Like,
Who was it that props
pump the brakes.
Barbieri though? So there was an interview
Older than
yesterday.
Fresneda.
Who was it that did
young
that?
guys, I got no problem with it. I'm not scared of it. Integrating Juventus, I'm not worried about it. Change is good. We need to change our ways. That's one thing for sure that these past few years have really highlighted.
Can we
There's work to be
Can
done.
we pinpoint like the change of that mentality a bit when Marotta left? Because I think before that we were making good.
Well, Marotta
purchases.
made some pretty shocking shit moves himself too, and I mean we're dealing with some automatic renewals. What?
Was that from him, though?
Automatic renewals? Never in my life.
I got to get one of those in my contract.
I want an automatic renewal. Yeah.
Good luck.
Not
Call me
without
if that
any
happens.
knees you want.
So Marotta, though, this kind of was one of the things I will say this because Marotta is a true sporting director. After that, his mentor, who was a scout, Paratici, ended up taking over. Cherubini is also a scout, mind you. Not that I have any problem with what Cherubini's done, granted the circumstances and everything, but we got to stop going with these scouts and letting them, like, you need a sporting director. We need a sporting director. I can't emphasize that enough. And it's been way too scattered. Paratici was all flash. And it's shocking to me through this Prisma investigation, not that I'm concerned about the investigation or everything, but when you start hearing about these wiretaps, regardless of how they got them and how bullshit it is, when you start hearing about what these guys are saying about Paratici and whatnot, it's like, how do you let this guy do this? Like, Agnelli, you're in charge. And how does this happen? And your guys are saying this about this guy who's essentially controlling all your transfers in right now. That's a mess, man. That is a mess. And for that alone, when we go back to the original question Anthony asked about, would you want him to be buying the team from Elken? I started looking at this whole situation, take a step back, and I'm like, man, you need to just be behind the scenes. You'll always be a part of Juventus and you're part kind of owner and whatnot, but like, stay there, man. Stay there and let the guys run football. And you know what? the stadium atmosphere has to brought into it too. When you start looking at team trying to boost finances, revenue, man, revenue. Monza match, Coppa Italia not sold out. Atalanta still a lot of tickets. No,
You can't be
gotta get
worrying
back
about
to a
like
lot of things. So
too
for
many
me,
banners in the stadium. Like
stay in the back scenes. Don't buy this team out, right? But maybe the rumors are true that Elkan is looking to
I don't think so.
to move it. So it'd be interesting. A lot of interesting stuff happening. But bring back the ultras, cappuccino. Yeah.
Hey,
There was
How about bring
another
back
question
Cappuccino?
here.
Where the hell's that guy been?
He's been here
job,
recently.
unlike some of us.
Joey Cappuccino?
Clearly,
Who knows?
I gotta go to
But
work.
anyways, guys,
Yeah.
the guy
we'll
doesn't
wrap
work.
up on that. There's some heated stuff today. A lot of good discussions, a lot of crazy questions that I'm sure are going to come up on more shows because,
medical
like
talk.
you
Oh,
said,
some of this is getting clipped.
you
Some
can
of this show's getting
dissect
clipped for sure.
all these topics today, like for hours on end, and maybe some green room sessions will start coming out. We'll see what happens. But everybody, thank you very much again. Reminder, like the video,
Colonoscopy talk.
subscribe to the channel. All right. Yeah. Monza today, Juve. Don't be nervous. Okay. Don't be nervous.
Landucci's in charge, guys. We got this.
Landucci ball. Youngsters, make it right. We'll get the job done. We will reconvene tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. We'll see who won the prediction challenge, and we'll tackle this game, and hopefully we have a lot of good stuff to talk about. All right, everybody, thank you as always in the live chat. You guys are amazing. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Enjoy the match. No watch along today because work. It sucks. I know, but pays the bills. Let's go. Sunday, watch along though. Atalanta. Be there. All right. Ciao tutti. Thank you, Luca. Somewhat. Anthony, Omar. Fantastic. Ciao tutti.
One last thing.
Easy there, man.
Watch the finger.
One last thing. Happy birthday to Claudio Marchisio.
Oh my God, Claudio.
What are we even talking about?
And
We
the
got
now.
so
Let's go.
fired up with the show and the news and all this. Claudio.
Our boy. If we can't win it for Claudio for his birthday,
Just burn it all down.
yeah.
No, just go on to the next game.
Hey, man, they've lost on my birthday. No, they haven't. They usually don't play on my birthday.
With all due respect,
Like,
you're not Claudio Marchisio.
Claudio Marchisio. And I will say this. Il Principino himself probably never gets a chance if 2006 doesn't go down. So youngsters, yeah, let's integrate them and let's see what we got and let's move forward. All right.
What's your best memory?
From Claudio Marchisio?
Yeah.
The goal against Inter.
Oh, 100%.
Always, man.
Same one. 100%.
The goal against Celtic.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one.
That was
a good one.
That
You
was
played
money.
Celtic?
And the black kit, that kit, man, too. Oh, man, that was nice.
That's the only kit that I haven't framed is that black Marchisio 8
Why
kit.
not?
Yeah.
That
Because that's
brace
the one I wear.
against Milan. That brace against Milan in the first contest season.
Nah, that Inter goal is still.
Yeah, that was sick.
That's
too.
just salt in the wound, you know.
Claudio was crazy, man. He was grossly he was only rated amongst Juventini, man. It's a very, very light rating outside of Juve in Italy, but worldwide, not recognized enough, man. He was a baller, man. I'll never forget what he did to that Barcelona midfield, man. And he was left high and dry, and he was still balling out. So yes, great shout, Omer. How could we not say happy birthday?
We forget
the finger was just.
You guys getting old, you forget.
Oh yeah, the finger was warranted. I thought you were doing Babu from Seinfeld, but no. It was warranted. It was warranted. Everybody,
very, very bad, man.
enjoy the match. Ciao tutti. Okay, take care. We'll see you tomorrow morning.